Are you somebody who has to smoke weed anytime you get stressed out or you're met with a problem in your life? Well, if that's you, you're in the right place, because in this video, I want to share why it's so important to learn how to be able to manage your stress and how to cope without having to light up every time you're met with a problem. And I'm going to do that by answering 3 questions. Why do we smoke when we're stressed? Why can't we handle stress without weed? And why is it important to be able to manage stress without weed? All right, let's get right into it. Welcome back to Mindful Gains. I'm Bryce, and on this channel, I talk about self-improvement. I do it through a lens of mindfulness and self-awareness and learning to understand your mindset so that you can navigate your life a bit easier. Now, if you're somebody who smokes weed anytime you get stressed out, you may or may not even know what it feels like to deal with your stress without having to be high. And if you're wondering how to do that, make sure you watch this video to the end, because I'm going to give you 3 tips on how you can actually manage your stress. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. Why do we smoke weed when we're stressed out? It's because it's a coping mechanism. It's how we make ourselves feel better when we're feeling shitty. You know, you may have started smoking weed at a very young age, and it's something that you've picked up and that you run to anytime you deal with any discomfort or emotions or feelings that you're trying to get rid of. So we pick up habits and we pick up patterns that kind of mask what we're experiencing because it don't feel good. And from my experience, weed is one of those things. Weed is kind of a band-aid when we experience those uncomfortable emotions. For example, say somebody said something to you at your job that pissed you off. You might be going through your brain over and over and over again, like, damn, I should have said this, I should have did this. And when you get off your job, you're like, I need to smoke. I'm stressed out. I need to calm down or whatnot. And you're running to the weed to be able to help you kind of process what's going on inside of you. Now, why is that a bad thing? Now, I'm not going to necessarily say it's a bad thing. What I am going to say is that I think it's ideal to be able to learn how to process your emotions without the need of anything outside of you, whether it's weed, whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever. I think it's important to learn how to handle our stress without having to smoke something to kind of figure it out. And from my experience, sometimes the weed doesn't even help. Like, has it ever happened to you where you're dealing with something, you smoke, and now it's like magnified? Now you're really hyper focused on whatever that problem was in your life, and you're replaying it in your head. It's like a repetitive loop. I think that can be helpful, but only if you're really self-aware of yourself. And that's a whole nother video. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But if you lack self-awareness and you smoke weed to run away from your problems or to process your problems, what's really happening? Is the weed really helping you? Now, I know you might be like, yeah, it is helping me. But let's go a little bit deeper. You ever deal with that anxiety after you smoke? You ever start to get into that worry mode after you smoke? Like, you're dealing with a problem, you smoke. Now you're worried about the outcome. You're worried about, oh, should I do this? Should I have done that? It's like, is the weed really helping you? Leave me a comment below and let me know if you've experienced something like that. Now, part 2 of that is, why can't we handle stress without weed? It's because we were never really taught how to handle our stress. You know, when you're a kid, nobody really sits you down and they're like, hey, so what are you experiencing right now? Well, this is how you need to work through this. You need to validate yourself, et cetera, et cetera. No one really walks you through the process to be able to understand what's going on inside of you. We never really got that. And I just want to clarify that I'm not anti-weed. You know, if you've seen any of my other videos, I share that I smoke weed on occasion. I don't smoke weed every day or every other day, but I really value being responsible with it and not being reckless with it, and learning your own internal operating system so that you can understand why you do the things you do. Why do you smoke weed anytime you get stressed out? And I think the more that you can understand that type of stuff, the more of a choice you develop. For example, I'm stressed out about whatever. And once you get curious about that, why am I stressed about this? Well, why did that piss me off? The more curious you can become about that, and the more you understand how you're operating, that choice kind of develops like, oh, okay, I know why this is going on. I don't need to run to weed to run away from that problem. I understand what's going on inside of me. And that leads me to that third question. Why is it important to be able to manage your stress without weed? Because you want to be able to process your emotions and your feelings on that raw, organic level. You don't want to have to run to something to be able to help you process. What happens when you run out of weed? We've all been there before. Now you're stressing out because you don't have weed. Now you're waiting on the plug, and you know they take their time. But you know what I'm talking about, where it's like a cycle. So in order to get in front of that cycle, it just really helps if you understand how you operate. Now, in the beginning of this video, I said I was going to share 3 ways on how you can manage your stress a bit easier. These 3 things are not easy to do. They take practice. The first tip is to slow down. That might sound crazy. You might be like, what in the hell are you talking about? You have to be able to pause and slow down in the moment when something triggers you. Now, what that slowing down is going to do, it's going to allow you to get a better grip on yourself and what exactly is happening in that moment. It's kind of eliminating that impulsiveness. You know, a lot of us just kind of like something happens and we react impulsively, quickly. We're not even thinking about it. We just, boom, we're automatic. So being able to slow down, being able to ask yourself the question of, damn, what's going on right now? What is that I'm feeling? Where did that come from? Getting curious with it. That's the first step when you get stressed, when you're met with that curveball in life. The second tip is to try to stay present. Try to stay present in the moment. One way that I really know how to cultivate that and to work on that is by doing meditation. Now, I talk about this in a lot of my videos, but practicing meditation really improves your ability to be able to stay in the present moment. I'll be sure to leave some links in the description box that will help you with that if you're interested in it. And that third tip is to become more aware of your breathing. This is a part of being able to stay present. This will allow you to keep yourself in the present moment. Is when you get stressed out, start to become aware of your breath. Because when we get stressed, we lose like sight of our breathing. A lot of us are going through life and we ain't never been aware of a breath that we take. It's just so automatic, we don't even notice it. That's one thing that you have control over no matter what challenge you're dealing with. And I'm gonna give you one more bonus tip here. Learn to lean in and become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Stress can be uncomfortable. That's why we smoke weed in the first place, because we don't want to experience that discomfort. We want it to go away. So smoking weed makes it go away, or does it? But so learn to kind of embrace that. It's going to be weird in the beginning. It's going to be super uncomfortable. And you may be like, I don't like doing this. But the more practice you can do with that, the better you're going to become at managing your stress. And you're going to learn how to cope instead of having to run to the weed every time. If this video provided you with any value, I really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. It really helps the video. And if you're somebody who's thinking about quitting weed, check out my video over here where I talk about 5 things I experienced when I quit smoking weed. And maybe you're somebody who has already quit smoking weed, or you're trying to find balance in your life where maybe you can smoke, but you don't do it every day. Check out this video up here where I discuss my experience when I smoked weed after quitting for a period of time. All right, and I'll see you there. Peace.